ladies and gentlemen, here we are, episode 51.
Do we know what episode we're on?
I think it's 13.
We said 51, so we have to save this for at least 50,
Yeah,
40
so
more
you
episodes.
now we got to record 40 more.
Well,
It's going to be a long day.
It's 51 because this is the episode where we lay out our plans to
Oh, 50.
sneak into Area 51.
yes, it's
40 day
happening.
plan to get Dunder Mifflin back on track.
Exactly.
It's happening.
30 day plan, 30 points, 30 days, 30 points, 1 point per day. We get to 30 points, we're safe.
Yep.
There we go. Michael Scott.
Business
I was
genius.
watching the episode the other day. It's hilarious.
It's great. But it is episode 13 of the podcast.
A few short, but
Three Brothers Talking.
We're really famous. Huh?
I don't think we have any immediate plans to go to Area 51.
I do.
Well, I mean, I'm going out to Kansas this week. I could just
It's
take
basically
a
the
nice
same
little road
place.
trip down.
Yeah,
to
those are.
Nevada.
Yeah.
I won't be
You
that
know.
far.
Well, isn't
In
there?
Wichita.
There's a specific date that everybody's doing it,
September
right?
20th.
I kept on thinking, and then someone finally put remember the Area 51 arcade game?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I kept thinking the
Yeah.
entire time. Someone finally put it up, and I'm like, thank you.
I honestly
great.
can't wait if it really does. Like, if something really happens.
I kind of want at least some people to go.
Somebody to
It's like show up and be like, oh.
I mean, I'm not going, but I want somebody to
I don't
do
really
it.
want people to try to get in because they'll get arrested or killed.
Let's
but
get arrested.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's like...
I don't know. Do
Did
you
you
think
say they wouldn't get arrested?
No, they'll just
Well, they get arrested.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think it'd
I don't
be-
know. Do you think they would actually?
Unless you really
if
don't
they think you're a
stop.
legitimate threat,
If you're a
Yeah.
threat.
they'll get rid of you very
But
quickly.
like, that's what I don't know. It's
Yeah,
like,
they're
are people
trained to
really
stop people like
planning?
that.
Because like, if people are just going to storm and like they're unarmed and all that,
Maybe
like,
it's all a
I mean,
ploy.
you could get on some of the. I can get on some bases.
Maybe
Some little
somebody-
badge. I wonder if I can get on that one. But guys, don't worry.
I don't think you can.
You can get on some, no, like some of them. You just got, if it's not a top secret base.
Yeah, that one is.
Well, yes and no. Some areas might be.
Well,
you might be able to get on some other ones. Like
You know
can't
what?
just
All
walk.
right. So Jeremy's going to go to Area
I'm gonna
51
go.
and just say, hey, can you let me in?
Record.
Yeah.
And apparently
I'll
they're going to be
record
fine.
and just get back to you guys while I'm out there.
that's gonna be our on-site. We're gonna do it.
Yes.
On-site Area 51 raid. With
You know
Special
what?
episode.
I
We've
think I'd rather
talked
sit there
about-
and watch everything. Get a
We've
table
talked
set
about
up.
live events, doing a live event or something.
Get a ton of listeners that way.
You know what? September 20th, there's going to be a
that the
whole lot
date?
of people at Area 51.
Yeah.
That's the day.
Why September 20th?
I don't know. It does surprise me that it's not April 20th because 420.
Yeah.
I really would have expected
That or,
somebody
like,
to
I
make
don't
that.
know.
Well, Dave, that's already passed. So
Well, I mean,
July
it does.
4th
It
or
comes around
something.
once a year,
yes, but these people are excited. They
and
wanna
next year
go.
would be even better because it'd be
I could see
420,
someone
2020.
saying, like,
yeah.
July 4th, because that's our day of independence. So we're gonna set the aliens independently free. So
That's right.
But
But that's our day of independence. They can
we
get a
can't
different one.
share our day of independence.
Their Independence Day can be September
regardless of what
20th.
happens, we have been lit up by some really great memes from
Yes.
this. Like it
Really
has
good
been
memes.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the ones with like the battle strategy of like how they're gonna
Yeah.
infiltrate? And it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll keep you guys posted if 3BT 51. Let's do
Three
episode.
Brothers rating.
Let's do Three
I
Brothers.
saw-
Let's do episode 51.
I don't know what
In
airline.
Area 51.
I think I don't know what airline it was, but I saw an article just scrolling through Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, I saw
like,
that.
the flights out have like quadrupled in price
So-
just because demand has
Well, it's
gone
like
up.
when they did season 1 of Stranger Things. You know, it
Yeah.
all goes back to that. Like Eggo waffles, like
yeah.
came back with a vengeance because of it. Like it made a whole cultural phenomenon.
So like
That's the way
people,
it works, man.
yeah, people are paying like $2,000 for flights just to get
To the
out
middle
there.
of the
I
desert.
bet
Yeah.
that there will just be a bunch of people go out in the area
They'll just
and
be in Las Vegas and like, I'm close enough.
like I
Yeah.
don't know. They'll do some drugs
Do some
and,
drugs
and out in the desert and have some kind of like Burning Man type festival for a few days and then go home. We're recording to you actually not from Area 51, but from the zoo, the Appelt Family Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
Headed
Did you
up.
get your membership renewed, by the way? Because you need a membership to come in now.
Oh, that's right.
Oh.
Do I get a discount as like a nearby resident?
Only if you can prove you're more related to me.
Oh.
You need proof of relations anymore.
But in the Appelt Family Zoo, Jeremy's dog, one of his dogs, is currently caught up in a cord.
We're currently getting our
Just
equipment
pause for one
taken
moment.
out. Yeah.
She's got her leg tangled up in it. All right, we're good.
Literally, as we're saying that, gets tangled up in the cord.
She
and
looks so sad. She
doesn't know what to do.
you know what? She remained remarkably calm there, though.
Yeah.
She was like,
She didn't yank
"All right,
anything."
something's going on, but I'll just wait here
But
for a
Jeremy,
second.
you guys have not added any animals since our last recording, right?
There are no new living things in the house.
Yeah.
There's no
just
new
a
pets.
kid and 4 animals.
No new kids, no new pets.
Yeah.
So I am going away for a week, so hopefully that stays.
You're gonna
that
come
way
back.
until I come back.
You came back and she added another one.
Let's
Well,
not put that out there.
Where you got the kittens from last time, I know for a fact that family just had more kittens, so
They
don't
could
tell your
sponsor
wife
the
that.
pod by giving David a kitten.
Yeah.
They could. We might be in the market for one if we get a house quickly.
Yeah.
We might be in the market for a kitten. So
Here's a
We'll see.
kid.
Yeah.
no,
Might be in the market for a
yeah,
kid.
me in the market for a kid. You
Got
know,
any kids?
it's a pretty hot market right now. At least in our family, it's a hot market.
It
It's
is.
cooled off a little bit, but
I don't know.
yeah,
Who knows what'll happen?
Kids, man.
kids, man. But Andrew got incarcerated this last weekend.
Yeah.
You gonna tell us about
Did
that?
we talk about that?
Yeah.
We introduced it. So yeah, we went to that this like
Well, Jeremy and I were not there.
Yeah.
well yeah.
Just to be fair, we were
but
not.
yeah, they did not go. I went with
Yes.
the in-laws, siblings, and all this for my father-in-law's birthday. He wanted to go to this. He's all into the rock music, so we went to the tattoo festival up in Mansfield,
Which is where there's a. If you don't know, Mansfield, Ohio has a like a
It's-
reformatory.
yeah, it's a reformatory where they actually filmed most of the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
So that's the prison that they use. It's not a prison now. It's just
Yeah.
you can walk through it and everything.
And
but
so people take like haunted tours there and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff.
it
It's-
becomes a
yeah.
haunted house like
Yeah.
around Halloween. But they had this like hardcore festival. Not really all my music. I only knew like a few bands there,
Mhm.
but it was definitely interesting to see lots of tattoos, lots of interesting characters. It was hot. We camped out and stuff. So the camping part was cool.
Yeah.
Just to get to like relax and hang out for a bit. But yeah, it was an interesting sight. I hadn't been to a concert in general in like
Did you get any
years.
tattoos?
I did not.
Andrew could have got his first tattoo in a jail
We were
cell.
trying to like
at
send
Shawshank.
we were trying to send my father-in-law back home to his wife with a tattoo from the birthday weekend, and they had like temporary airbrush ones there that like we could have probably passed off as like, you know, he just got crazy and
Mhm.
we got him a tattoo, and she would have been really mad, but yeah,
would've been really funny.
we didn't end up going through with that. Everybody stayed very low key.
Everybody stayed tattoo free.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah, it was
You
a
know.
good time though.
Well, Andrew's a hardcore guy now. Goes to
not a
music
hardcore guy.
festivals and goes to jails, apparently.
It was cool to walk inside the jail. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been there, Jeremy? Oh, fair
No,
enough.
I should probably say.
You probably shouldn't just
This
shake
is
your head.
not a visual episode. I should not just
Jeremy
shake
just
my-
responded to that with shaking his
No.
head.
I should
Yeah.
not.
Not really Jeremy's scene.
No.
I mean, most of that's
I mean,
not
I
my
do
scene.
like I do like a lot of style of music, actually. But
Listen to a lot of
well,
Godsmack,
not
Jeremy.
that, not those bands.
A lot of Shinedown.
Yep, you know me.
Yeah, they were there.
It'd be
Jeremy's
fun
favorite.
to not do that.
You're not really a camping festival type of guy.
I like camping. I'm not a festival camper. It's a
Yeah.
different thing.
Festivals are like they only did it one night.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Festivals beyond one day
No, you go
are
to your thing.
no go in my
Especially
book.
because it was really hot last weekend,
Yep.
so that was a little much. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to
They
do
just
more
stayed
than
in
the
the
one night.
prison. They could have sold cells for like a premium. That'd have been
I
super
don't know. If,
hardcore.
I don't
All
know
the
if I would
hardcore
sleep in there.
fans.
There's probably all kinds
Oh,
of
hardcore fans would
You got to know
all
that. Yeah, there'd
kinds
be
of
people that would want
bacteria
that.
and stuff in there.
Andrew, come on. There'd be some people there who would
Oh,
do
tons
it.
of
There's
people.
getting
Well, yeah.
tattoos at an outdoor open concert.
I'm saying I would never do that though.
Well, they're getting the tattoos in the jail cells. They have them set up in the jail cells.
So if they can do tattoos in that, you can sleep in that.
It'd be risky.
bacteria.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that would. Yeah, I like. I mean, I've got some tattoos.
You have tattoos?
I do,
Uh-oh. 3BT. Heretics.
and potentially more or whatever. But I don't think I'll ever get one in a jail cell. That's
want a
not on my
prison
list.
tattoo?
Yeah, I'll stick to actual studios and places where you're supposed to get
reputable
tattoos.
places.
Although if you did go there and get a tattoo, you could tell people you have a prison tattoo. That's kind of fun to say, right?
That's true.
But
Andrew, you can say you've officially been to prison.
you have been to prison
Technically, yeah.
Congratulations.
and you got out. And
Have
then,
you watched Shawshank Redemption? Like,
Oh, that movie is fantastic.
have you watched it since you've been back?
No, I
since
haven't.
I wonder if it
2 days,
changed
since
how
like
you
3
watched
days
it
ago?
all.
Yeah.
I just wonder if it changed how you saw it. Like I've been there. I know how hard it was.
It is really cool to see
how hard it was to break out.
To get out of that environment.
Yeah. Andrew, if he did get sent to prison, that would make us heartbroken. And if we were heartbroken, we might be mourning.
Where are you going?
And then
this segue.
we would have to ask everyone to mourn with us.
As we mourn?
Yeah. There's a Bible verse about that, right?
So this whole podcast, I'm going to be in prison.
Andrew's going to go to prison just so we can get a real
you guys are gonna
hands-on.
talk
So we're
about
going to
mourning.
mourn with
Group of it.
Andrew and mourning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you just want to focus on that part or the rejoicing with those
No,
who
I think we
rejoice?
could talk about that whole section there.
So like Romans 12 verse 15.
Yeah,
The
man.
whole rejoice with those who rejoice, weep with those who weep. NIV is mourn with those who mourn. That's,
Oh, it is. That's right.
It's different.
No, that's what we're talking about.
With the idea of rejoicing with those who rejoice and mourning with those who mourn. In the middle of a chapter where the Apostle Paul really lays out a bunch of practical things that the church in Rome is supposed to do in order to love each other. The Apostle Paul spends, so many chapters in the first 11 chapters of the book of Romans laying out theology and salvation. And then at the very end here in chapter 12, he transitions to this is what you should do in response. And this is a topic that actually, whenever we first started planning the podcast, was one of the first ones that Jeremy actually brought up. Which, by the way, we didn't introduce ourselves this time.
We didn't do it again.
We didn't.
I think the people know.
I'm David, by the way.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Jeremy.
And me, David, I'm going to be the lazy host today. And I'm going to just tell Jeremy to take it from here because it's his topic. So
It's been a while.
it's been a while since Jeremy's had control of an
Well, I don't know.
episode.
I remember. I know, and that went's so swimmingly.
Yeah, it was the best episode we've ever had.
Was it really the best? It wasn't
Definitely.
the worst.
I mean, that's a very subjective thing to say. So
I'm gonna say
yeah,
it's the best.
Yeah,
'cause
of
that'll
course.
Make me feel better. Give me more confidence.
that's right.
Well, I don't know. I remember a few years back we were discussing after the it was after the Orlando shooting of the gay
The nightclub.
nightclub.
Yeah.
We had YAG, a young adult group, that next night, and I remember listening to something on The Briefing with Al Mohler, which is a great podcast, great little pod. About
Perhaps you've heard of it.
Perhaps you've heard of Al Mohler. About how as Christians we can come alongside and we still mourn with these people who lost their lives, because in that aspect, that's still what we're called to do. There's plenty of people who died in their sin, yes, but also just representative image bearers of Christ or of God. So that's something we don't do well as Christians. We don't really do well at rejoicing with those. We do better at rejoicing with those who rejoice, but I think also there's with backbiting or even the back of our head, an envious undertone in a lot of it.
Yeah.
Man, but why did that guy get it and not me? And that might just be me from my own
I
experience.
was going to say speak for yourself because I think I have plenty of problems rejoicing with other people if there's not anything in it for me.
Right.
But I think that can come more naturally than truly mourning with those who mourn genuinely.
It comes slightly more natural because at least there's some, to a certain degree, you can be excited about it to some degree because you can see it. But mourning with those who mourn is completely just distant concept. Because we don't do well in the mourning normally in our own daily lives. Mourning our own sin or our own stuff going on in our own lives. And then coming alongside someone else who's mourning is very difficult.
Particularly when we are not mourning ourselves. Because, I mean, that verse, that passage is written kind of specifically, or I shouldn't say specifically, but it's written more pertinently to relationships within the church. But it obviously, like you said, Jeremy, has this application beyond it, where even our neighbors, even people that aren't believers, they could be mourning for any number of reasons. And we are still called to mourn with them. But I don't know. I'm curious to think or to ask, what do you guys think are the reasons that we fail to do that? We fail to rejoice with people who are rejoicing or mourning with those who are mourning.
I go off the bat just saying error and insecurities in a lot of way. Just in there saying, because then it's putting us. One, you have to mourn with someone or to let someone mourn with you. You have to be open, which we're not good at being open. We all have a million Facebook friends, but actually having a sit down conversation where you actually have a meaningful discussion about what's going on in your life, not just I'm fine, how are you?
Like how many people can we actually even mourn in front of?
Right. Yeah. And it's we all live so isolated, yet we're so connected.
Yeah. I think, it's like, do you really have those true relationships even built up, where a lot of people don't, if you really get down to it?
Well, a lot of people want that, but that's going to cost you something too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and that's often where there's an opportunity to build those relationships, even for the first time. Like if there's someone in your church or your friend or a coworker that's mourning, there's probably not a better time in the world for you to begin building a relationship than to enter in right there. And I think another reason we don't do it is just selfishness. Like if I'm having a good day or a good week, it's hard for me to find the motivation to be bothered by your sorrow, because it's like not mine. So it's like, I don't want to bear your burdens because I'm doing fine. Like, why would I, that's a real selfishness we have, where it's like, I'm happy, so I don't want to do anything to mess with me being happy.
You can like anticipate that, like, I'm going to have my burdens to worry about. That's going to occupy my time anyway. So
like today I'm fine. Yeah. Like my Tuesday is probably going to stink, but right now I'm fine. Yeah. So like, I'm going to maximize my happiness, and your mourning is probably going to get in the way of that. Yeah. Now we would never really like say that, right? We would never say, I'm going to not mourn with you because, to be honest, you seem like a downer. But I think that that's part of the motivation for us sometimes to avoid it. Which is, very, incredibly un-Christ-like, and not at all like the model that Christ put down for us, where he came and, was a comforter and mourned with those who mourned and laid his own life down. But we're often too selfish to lay down a few hours or a few days or whatever for the sake of somebody else.
So then how do we go about becoming better?
Jeremy?
Like practically.
Practically. I think first off,
let's cover impractically first.
Yeah, so the impractical ones. I'm really
interested in everything that we could not put into practice. Yeah, Jeremy, take it away.
I think first off, just seeking out really the lost, the hurting, and the lonely. Not just like just looking for sad people, but look for relationships outside of what you have, like your neighbors and stuff like that, like people down your streets, in your churches, and ask if you can just get coffee. Like the practical parts of it can't just start necessarily. Yeah, it can start that day if you really see it, but typically you're not going to. Yeah. The more practical one will say, hey, I just have a friend and this is going to build off this. So that intentionality starts today, just with reaching out and saying, hey, how's your day going? And that might just be a brush off. It might not. Yeah. It could not be. And then that's great.
If you don't know your neighbors and you just say hi to them, they're probably not going to launch into a speech about all the mourning they're going through if they don't really know you, so you might not have an opening to even know what's going on with their lives if you aren't building that relationship beforehand.
I guess we should also answer, like, so what does mourning with those who mourn, what should it look like though?
Jeremy?
Man.
You came up with the topic. When you come up with the topic,
I'm never taking that topic.
There's no expiration date. You come up with it one time and it is yours forever.
I think just understanding and letting them, like, you sit back, like Job's friends, like, they did it wrong because they didn't, like, he was in mourning, he was having a very difficult time, and they just lectured. So I think first off, listening. That's very practical. It's listening, not undivided attention and undivided time. Yeah. Not trying to, which is difficult for me, trying to say, okay, how can I help fix a problem? Yeah. But there's certain things you're not gonna be able to fix. A lot of people who are mourning, you can't fix their problem because it's probably a loss of life and you can't bring that person back.
Yeah.
What you can do is offer them hope outside of that in the midst of their mourning and say, you know what? Yes, for a time, especially if they're believers saying, this stinks now. We've lost a dear friend here on earth, but we can still, and through tears, rejoice in the hope we have everlasting, that we have a God who's overcome death.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's going to be different person to person, depending on the relationship and their disposition toward you and just themselves emotionally.
I think one of the worst ways too that we often get it wrong is like when we have someone who is mourning, we often, I don't know, somewhat, I guess, out of a selfish ambition, are interjecting our previous mourning or something to like you were saying, just be present and be listening. Whereas like we often go into it and say like, I've been there. And like we try to expound our previous mourning that we got over in the past or something and try to be like, you know, we're on the same level. And I think that's one way that we definitely get it wrong.
Yeah. There's a balance with that. Like where if you've gone through something similar to someone else, there's, like Andrew said, there's a balance with that because you can go overboard and like, oh, I know what you're feeling. I know all this stuff. Sometimes in our culture today, we go overboard in the other direction, which is nobody is allowed to tell anyone what their experience is ever.
Or their experience needs to change. Or...
And like, so if somebody is dealing with something and then somebody says like, oh, I think I might know some, like, I think I might kind of understand that a little bit. The overreaction one direction is, nuh-uh, you can't know anything. And how dare you tell me? But on the other hand, I know that it's easy for me to do it where I can think that I fully understand everything. Yeah. Even things that I haven't experienced. You know, if it's something you've actually like walked through the same situation, then use that with that person and don't come in with like, here's how to fix it, but come in focusing on the fact that they are in pain. So like you have a unique ability to be very empathetic to them because you've felt that pain. And remember the fact that in the moments, like Andrew said, remember the fact that if you have walked through something like someone else, remember the fact that in the moments of walking through it, you probably wouldn't have appreciated somebody just marching in with advice right away.
Like it's definitely is helpful to have that perspective and to have that prior experience to speak into those situations. Yeah. But also just going into it with a cool head of like, first, where was I at in this situation? And then did I want to just be present? Did I just need someone to be listening? Did I just need someone to be calm with me? And just feel, you know, at first you might just need to feel with them the weight of what's happening. And then after that, then it's good to have that commonality of like working through, but
and you can work through it. You work through it together and you don't discount the biblical truths of things. I mean, there's certain things that are true, but also the time like, there's not a time and a place that might not be the moment to say that.
Yeah. I think anytime you're only giving advice or your words to a situation, you're probably doing it wrong. Like if somebody's experiencing something and the only thing you're offering them is like advice or words kind of from
your
afar
experience
or your experience, like you need to just take a step back and remember, okay, not like God might use me to give them advice, to encourage them and to help them, but he can also use me to like show them love and show them kindness. Because if you're just giving advice, you're not really mourning with them. You're just kind of instructing them. Right. And so you need to, if you have wisdom that you've learned by experience, you need to use it and give it to them. But part of wisdom is knowing when and how to speak so that it will be heard like properly. And that's something we have to guard ourselves from. I know that's something I have to guard myself from, of just kind of, oh, I know the answer, and just like jumping in the pit. And it's like, maybe if I do know the answer, then I kind of just wade into the pool, so to speak. And you got to pick your spots. All right, now's an appropriate time to bring this up. Yeah. Like, let me get a handle on the situation first. This is tangentially related, but there's a proverb about the fact that like, a loud word early in the morning just makes someone mad. And that's obviously not necessarily talking about mourning, but I think there's this principle behind that verse of an ill-timed word, even if it's good words, if it's ill-timed, it can still not help.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have to be careful about. Because if you were mourning, you would want probably some more emotional investment demonstrated by the other person before they begin to give you like intellectual investment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we just you have to swallow your selfishness a little bit, be willing to, even if you're not sad, even if you don't, the challenge, right, is when you don't feel the weight of that mourning.
Yeah.
Like it might be a situation in their life that really you're struggling to feel any sort of emotion about because you don't have a connection to it, or you just don't feel that. I don't know how to deal with that entirely other than to pray that God would give you the same burden that they're feeling.
Yeah.
Like that God would at least give you a burden to feel for them.
Well, and I think this goes back to part of just like natural gifts that come, and God works out. Like everybody's has spiritual gifts, and some people definitely have the gift of like empathy. And they are better suited, I think, just naturally. And hopefully the Holy Spirit is continuing to work on them to develop that strength further and further, so that in those situations, they are best suited to actually feel the mourning.
Yeah.
And those oftentimes are the people that like, you want to make sure you have connections with.
Yeah.
Because like, even if yes, we are all called obviously to mourn with those who mourn, but if you have true relationships with someone who is naturally, gifted in that way, then when it comes to any situation or whatever, then you can go to them and you can, then you can glean from each other.
Yeah.
How to best navigate the situation. So,
yeah.
Because some people I'm definitely, I think in my own life, I'm definitely like the type A personality, and I'm the one that wants to just get in and fix the problem. And like, especially when it comes to a situation where like, if I have a direct prior experience to that, and like I know how I best got over it, then I want to give them the answer, and we can move on this way, and I can help you get through this. And so I know like that's something I have to guard against because I'm not that natural. I don't think I haven't been gifted in that way, at least to slow down and be empathetic.
Yeah. This goes to a topic we've touched on before, but your personality is never an excuse for
being a jerk,
disobeying, or being a jerk, as Jeremy just said.
No,
like
it's something you have to guard against.
Like there's I get tired of personality tests sometimes, and I know like I'm almost not allowed to say that because we go to a church in the Sojourn Network, so like we really like personality tests. My problem is not with personality tests. My problem is like how we can use them to identify. They're supposed to be a thing to help you understand yourself a little bit more. But sometimes people will just go into like, well, I'm like a 8 or I'm a 9 or whatever.
That means
so I'm not that empathetic. So like
I get a pass.
And then you're sitting there like, well, the Bible verse still applies to you.
Yeah, conform the Bible. Romans 12, 14 verses before this.
Yeah.
So you cannot excuse just disobedience.
Well, and you can't say like, well, that's not my spiritual gift.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, that passage of scripture doesn't say, if you're not empathetic, skip to verse 20.
Don't mourn.
It should be a thing. It should be a thing where you take a test or something like that, or you look at your personality and you say, like Andrew said,
I need to grow.
I struggle. Like this isn't me, so I don't have to do it. No. We should instead say, this isn't me. I wish it was me.
Yeah.
Like, let me pursue that being
and pray
me.
that you get worked on in that area and that can develop. And also, like I said, like connecting with people who are.
Yeah. To
glean off of them and model off of them is some way that you could also train yourself and become better with time at that principle.
Yeah.
I think that's a big key just because, it doesn't come naturally to people. And that doesn't excuse what God was calling for.
Absolutely. Yeah. God's commands matter to us because you have something to offer the people in your church and your friends and your family.
Yeah.
Even if you don't feel like you know how to offer it, you're still called and you've still been equipped by the Spirit to do it. Even if it's feebly at first, even if it's not great at first, whether it's rejoicing with those who rejoice or mourning with those who mourn. And like we said before, I think rejoicing with those who rejoice is that the tough part of that is similar, because if you're having a bad day and somebody else is having a great day, it can be hard to rejoice with them.
Yeah.
Because it feels like they're almost like insulting you by having a good time, or by like you wish your job got better in some way and then they get this great promotion or something that you want. You want something like that in your life.
At the root of that is just pride.
It's
really,
totally
right?
pride. Yeah. It's selfishness and self-centeredness. And that's tough to fight. But again, the scripture tells us to fight it. I don't know how though. I mean, I don't know how to do it all the time.
Well, I mean, it just takes being a student of the word and pray that your heart is changed day after day, I think is the big thing. Cause like, until you are removing pride, and able to look back and actually truly get to the point of rejoicing with someone else's victories and everything, then, that's, but yeah, again, that's what we're called to. So
I would say a great mark of if you want to know, like when you're becoming very mature in Christ, I would say a great mark of it is, can you rejoice with people even when you personally have nothing to rejoice about? And can you mourn with people even when you personally have nothing to mourn about?
Dissonance.
Like even if you're doing fine, can you still lay down your pride enough to mourn with people who are hurting? And if you're doing horrible, can you talk to someone about their new promotion or their new child without like bringing them down and trying to make them feel guilty for like having a good life?
And even
you feel like this is bad.
That can be something where like maybe you can get through the situation, but also being honest with yourself to measure your heart in those situations. Cause like, we can be good at putting on a good face at times even, but then like, can you actually measure your heart at those times? And I think that truly like, that's one of the great principles that the Bible's given us here. I think that you just brought up is like, that's a really good measure of your true heart condition. And if you're truly becoming, which we are all called to be, more or less and less selfish, and, self-gratifying and, fleshing out the desires of this world, then that should be a natural result of getting us out of the center of our lives and getting Christ into the center of our lives. So,
if we had a soundboard, I would have played like a preach sound effect after Ange said that, because that was good. Because like it's not just about the behavior you can manifest. It's also about, is your heart feeling that way, or do you have to fake it? Yeah. And faking it is still better than not doing it at all.
Especially faking it for the benefit of the other person.
Yes.
It doesn't do a whole lot for you, but yeah.
Well, and I also think, sometimes feelings in a lot of ways follow action, and building good habits can build good emotions and stuff behind them. Yeah. And so if you're like, man, I'll wait to do this until the day when I feel like mourning with someone who's mourning, you're never going to do it.
No. Yeah.
You have to start doing it before you feel like it and trust
and flesh it out.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the same way with reading your Bible, going to church or whatever. You can't just say, I'll do it when I feel like it, because you probably will stop feeling like it and you'll never feel like it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So mourn with those who mourn, rejoice with those who rejoice.
And it's not an option.
It's not an option.
It's a calling. Yeah.
It's an actual command.
Yeah.
Which means we have to do it. We get to do it.
Even if it doesn't come naturally to you.
Yeah.
It won't come naturally to you.
Well, for the vast majority,
your heart is not naturally going to do this.
There's some people that once they do have a more natural inclination.
True. I would say like on the podcast, Jeremy would be the most natural at it. Yeah. Out of us.
I would say you're the most natural, like empathetic. Yeah.
I know.
I can see that at least.
I know it's not me. And so it's only a 50-50 shot. And so I'm just guessing Jeremy.
So we have a 33% chance.
Exactly. Yeah, I'll eliminate myself from that competition. I know I don't deserve to be in it.
Yeah.
But you guys think we did all right?
I think that was pretty good.
It was good.
You think that was pretty good? All right.
I mean, how long was that? Was it
Oh, it was perfect length.
perfect timing?
It literally, that's what it says on the screen. Perfect length.
Literally.
You've achieved perfect pod.
Perfect pod.
We've hit everything we need. We've
Yeah.
hit
Yeah. Do you guys have anything? I don't know if there's other like quick advice or no. I don't know.
Don't go to Area 51.
Yeah,
Don't
we
do that.
probably really won't be there. So.
But maybe go like to the area around it and observe what other people are doing
There'll
on
be some
September
interesting
20th.
people who do. If it does happen, there'll be some
dude,
interesting
I just can't wait to
It'll
see.
be some crazy people that go there, like super
It'll be just
hippies.
like, remember Independence Day, the movie? It'll be just like
It'll
that.
be like super hippies will be just hanging out around there trying to do like another Woodstock or something
Yeah.
like that. I would actually go and watch them.
What's
Try to get into
hilarious?
Area
It'd be
51.
like
I would
Huge
totally watch
concert
that.
last
If you
weekend,
see the
probably.
Yeah.
Facebook group,
It'll be like Andrew's concert last weekend, but at Area 51.
If you haven't seen, there's a Facebook group for it, and
Yeah.
it has like, I don't know right now, probably over. I know the other day it had like over 850,000 people
That's
marked as
awesome.
going
Yeah.
to the event, and then like
So 5 will be there.
another million that said interested, and I'm like, yeah, you have 900,000 people marking as going, and then it's going to be like maybe 1,000 show up, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like,
Well, and the ones who show up, I bet. I mean, none of the ones who show up on a day where it's advertised we're going to get into Area 51, none of the ones who show up on that day are
David,
actually
when you do a
serious about
surprise
getting into Area
attack,
51.
You always announce it on Facebook ahead of time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to surprise you. Surprise party for Andrew.
What if-
Invite Andrew to it.
what if their whole plan is like to throw them off? It's like they
They're gonna get
announce it for
19th,
7.
and
Yeah,
And it's actually like the day before,
The day
after.
before they show up.
Today.
I do think the government is smart enough to beef up security for just
For like,
a
yeah.
long while around
Yeah.
it. You know,
Well, I'm pretty
They're
sure.
only gonna hire
only
security
that day.
Yeah.
Only that day.
Overtime for that 24 hours, guys.
I actually saw a
Guys, you put it on Facebook.
guys. Come on, you said the 20th. We weren't ready on the 19th.
We were not prepared for that.
I did see a picture on Facebook of a guy that was in the Air Force, and he put up a picture like on a Snapchat that said, about to go to a meeting about all this Area 51 stuff. Because apparently it has, I mean, the government, I guess, has to take it semi-seriously. So this guy was actually going into a meeting.
Like they're treating it as like a credible threat.
Not like a credible threat, but like, I don't
But
know.
like
it was
something, yeah.
He didn't publish the insides of the
I
meeting.
mean, I feel like they have to,
Yeah.
like, I feel like the government has to.
They have to
kind
at
of-
least
yeah.
do something
So, hey,
about
guys,
it.
there's a stupid Facebook thing out there.
Yeah.
That's
But
the
like,
extent of the
I was like,
breach.
they have to have
Hey, on
some type
September
of backup plan.
20th, just like,
Make sure y'all come to work that day.
there will be a bunch of weirdos.
Don't everybody
No
call
one
off.
call off the 20th. They're
Yeah.
gonna say that's like you have to be at work that day.
There won't be there will be a bunch of weirdos in the desert. They'll just be running around as long as they don't
Extra
get within
bottled
like a
water.
mile of the base. Let them do
Don't
whatever
worry,
they
we
want.
don't expect them to be
Yeah.
much threat, but
None of these guys are going to be armed anyway.
Yeah.
They're just going to be like running around with some like LSD or something.
Yeah.
You know, they'll be fine. But other recommendations beyond Area 51. Andrew and I could probably team up for one, which is the new Black Keys album.
oh man, it
Yeah.
is good.
It's really, really
I've been
good.
rocking to it like at work.
Yep.
I've been like doing it on repeat. Like
Yep.
it's like heavy compliance time for me, so I've just been cranking stuff out and
Nothing like
jamming.
tax compliance.
And they're one of the bands that like, I mean, it's just true. Like
They're beautiful.
They keep it true, man.
I love it.
They don't have a lot of.
It's a total throwback.
Yeah.
And it's really good. Black Keys, Let's Rock is the name of the album. And you can listen to it.
Yeah. We're getting ready to head back out on vacation this next week. So
Yeah. Andrew, have a good vacation.
hopefully, please pray for safe travels for us. And it's going to be a long drive with the boy.
When listeners hear this, you'll be like,
When they hear
still at
this, no.
Yeah, they're going to hear it 2 days from now.
Yeah.
oh yeah, never mind.
So we're going next weekend, but
So listeners,
after you hear, well, they could be listening, I guess, that day. Listeners, they
Listeners-
could hold it for the weekend.
that's true. Listeners, as of when you're hearing this,
all be
nothing
at work.
special will be
We'll
going on.
probably be at
Yeah,
work that
we'll all
day.
be at work.
At our normal jobs until the podcast money comes in.
That's right. Very exciting. But we will probably have to record another one before Andrew's vacation so that
Yeah.
we
that
can
we have it
record one
ready.
for the next.
because we're going to be gone a week at the beach.
Maybe we'll come back here to the zoo, the Appelt Family Zoo.
Yeah.
And if you hear
We go to
like,
church right down the street.
it's true.
And hopefully
If you
by
hear-
the next recording, I've conquered all these bees.
That's right. And if you hear dogs
defeat
or
them.
cats or babies
That's
during
Andrew.
recordings at the Appelt Family Zoo, that's expected. If you hear any other animals, let us know. We're not sure. Jeremy and Faith might have picked up. I mean, who knows what other animals they have somewhere
around in here.
Yeah. Like, I'm going away for a few days. Who knows what'll be here when I get back?
Jeremy's going to be gone for 3 days. So when you are hearing this, listeners, Jeremy will be gone, in Kansas.
I'll be in. I think whenever I get back, I'm not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be great.
I will. Really looking for myself and probably get a chuckle for myself.
Really looking forward to that joke.
Thanks. I'm gonna say it next time we record, so I'm write a note to remember.
All right. Well,
not in Kansas anymore.
I guess until next time, we'll see you guys next time.
There you go.
Good outro.
Killer sign off. Are you sure about that scientifically? Okay.
I actually can't confirm that scientifically.
Well, I wish
I've been having like a mad battle with a beehive in our siding on the back deck.
Why don't you just spray it with bee killer?
Literally, I've sprayed it for like 3 consecutive nights, and yet still like it's been fewer and fewer each time that I see the next day. So like I'm killing, and like last night I didn't even care that like I was just spraying the nest. I was trying to pick them out of the air. I was just like, die, and I shot like literally like with the sprayer. I shot like 10 or 12 down, just
impressive,
taking them out.
That is impressive.
But yeah, we're still working on it.
A sharpshooter over
I've
there.
been spraying. I got the heavy duty stuff.
The
but
joys of home ownership.
Supposedly, some of these bees are just resistant, or they're multiplying at a rate.
It's like MRSA.
Quicker. Yeah.
Well, according to The Happening a few years back, you remember that movie? All the bees are dying.
Yeah.
And then the wind's gonna kill us.
What a horrible movie.